Good morning, everyone. My name is Denise Rhymes, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the president of this congregation's board of directors. We are so delighted to have you here. You like me? You really like me. It's okay if you don't. We are delighted to have you here this morning on yet another, a little bit of a dreary morning. However, the day will improve in several ways, as you will see shortly. We're a congregation with a long and vibrant history in this community. We have evolved and continue to evolve along with this faith over the hundreds of years that we've been on this continent and on this land that, quite frankly, was never ours in the first place. We continue to try to make this a better world, a better community, and a better congregation, and that's all because of those of you who are sitting here in the pews. And for those of you, well, they're not really pews, but just pretend. And for those of you that are out there in streaming land, we welcome you as well. So glad that you were able to join us from the comfort of wherever you are. We're here every Sunday. Every Sunday is different, so for those of you who are here only for the first or second time, come back again before you decide if this is someplace you'd like to spend Sunday mornings, because it changes and evolves every week, and we always have an opportunity to learn and grow while we're together. So again, thank you for joining us, and we welcome you to our spiritual home.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Sherman Z. Logan, Jr., and I serve this wonderful congregation as the senior minister. Joining me this morning is our assistant minister, Reverend Lauren Lepwood, and you heard from our board president, Denise Rhymes. We are also welcoming this morning the Wailing Jennies, K.T. Shavely, Beth Tolley, and Grant Honeycutt, to share their musical gift with us this morning. It is a tradition here at First UU that we invite our visitors to tell us who you are and where you're from. So if you are visiting with us this morning and this is your first, second, or 100th time, as you are comfortable, please stand, raise your hand, and the minister of the mic will come to you. Are there any visitors this morning?
Good morning. Hold on. I'm Charlotte Coton from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Welcome, Reverend.
Good morning. Hold it real close.
Hi, good morning. I'm Yichi and I'm from Maryland.
Hi, I'm Jay. I came here like a month ago with my parents, but I'm kind of from here.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Victoria. This is Derek, and we're from Chester.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Julia. I grew up here, haven't lived here in 10 years, so I'm back. Hi.
Welcome back.
Hi, we've been here once before a couple weeks ago, and me and my mother are back. We moved here from California in January, and we're happy to be here. We're both lifelong UUs.
Welcome.
Oh, I'm Joe, and this is Chava.
Welcome.
Any other takers?
Okay, Jamie, I guess you can get some rest now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning in this worship service. We are so glad that you're here, and we are so grateful for your presence. Now, beloveds, let's show our neighbors and visitors our radical hospitality by greeting them with your smiling faces and warm welcome. Let's greet our neighbors. Okay. All right. Okay. Never mind. I called the worship this morning words by Reverend Leslie Takahashi. To worship means to consider that which has worth. Today we consider with gratitude the many gifts of this community. The opportunity to be affirmed in who we are and to offer that affirmation to others. The chance to stand up together to help remake the world in the ideal of justice. The freedom to choose one's own path to truth and to learn from travel logs of others. The space to expand one's own spirit and to reconnect after busy or humdrum weeks with sustaining truth of one's life. Regular reminders that we must see the world through the lens of love, and the aspiration to consider all life as precious, for if all of it is made up of stardust, how can it be not so wondrous? So this morning, let us welcome all these gifts with gratitude, for they have been paid for with many currencies. The blood of the martyrs who died so that we can be free in our religion. The sweat of those who resisted injustice's name against hostility and adversity. The tears of those who struggle to build better lives for those in this life. The questions of our children as they understand the world anew and offer their understanding to us as a fresh lens. The laughter and joy of those giddy with the embrace of community. The dollars and cents of those who gave what they could and then stretched a little more. The infinite small acts of service that makes a part of the greater than the whole, done by those who knew themselves in sympathy with our purpose. So today we consider with gratitude and humility what it means to pay forward and what has been paid forward for us. And now, with all of this, let us enter into worship with gladness in our hearts.
We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is the sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us. And now, if you'll rise as you're willing and able in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
Sure.
Stewards of Hope by Rebecca Savage. I'm delighted by how Spirit moves through our spiritual communities. A few summers ago, a member of our congregation drafted architectural plans for a free little library. The brilliance of the design is that there are doors on two sides of the library. On one side is for adults, and one side is just for kids' books. With the help of many volunteers, including the congregation's youth, 2 little free libraries were built and installed, one near our main entrance and one near a walking trail at the edge of the property. They've been chugging along by themselves. People keep them stocked and utilized. These libraries are a beautiful, self-sustaining phenomenon, a gift to the community. And then Spirit moved again, and a generous congregant asked to be a steward of the little free libraries. He realized that with a little love and regular attention, the little free libraries could be even better, and was moved towards deeper ownership. I love this. This is the beauty and sparkle of spiritual communities. We dance together in the gentle unfolding of how we strive to be together. Needs arise, and beloveds appear to ask, how can I help? There's no fixed timeline, just the spiritual practices of generosity and stewardship. As a religious leader, I am also a steward of hope. So often, we can slip easily into conversations and endless news cycles that focus on dire calamity and feel overwhelmed, crushed, and dispirited. Yes, there is much wrong with our world, and so much already has been lost. The yes and endures, though. We do have time to make changes today. We do have time to practice courageous love today. We do have time to revolutionize how we live out our faith today. This is how I serve as a steward of hope, by remembering and reminding others with a wink and a smile that today can be for the good, one breath at a time, one act of love and forgiveness at a time, one act of defiance and change at a time. The prayer of my heart is that hope gives rise to insight, which gives rise to action for the good of us all.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We are going to start with a song called Glory Bound, and it's by the Waylon Jennings. We are not the Waylon Jennings. We didn't write this, in other words. One second, guys.
I invite you now to enter into a time of prayer, reflection, and meditation. You may wish to adjust your position, your feet flat on the ground, your body resting easily against the back of your chair. Your hands gently open with palms up, resting on your thighs. Close your eyes as you are comfortable. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe soft and easy. Let us be open to the silence. Let us enter into a time of silent meditation. Spirit of life and love in which we live and move and have our being. God, one of 1,000 names, yet ever nameless. We come to you on this day, as we have on many other days, to give thanks for so many things and to express our appreciation for being in fellowship with you and this beloved community. We give thanks for caring friends and compassionate neighbors. We give thanks for the communion of those who seek to serve others. Now, each of us carry our private griefs and burdens. Sometimes we can share these, and for the open hearts which responds, we are grateful. Sometimes the world bears heavy upon us. We struggle alone, search the depths, and long for healing, for renewed hope, for strength and comfort, which give their grace and peace. May we be strengthened in the efforts to be of service, and may we always be mindful of our lives are filled with privilege, success, and joy that are excluded to many. We are to part of each other and rejoice in this belongingness. We are grateful yet humble for these opportunities to learn and practice social justice, equality, and doing the next right thing. So we need you and your presence not only at this moment, but throughout the week before we gather again. We are thankful for your love and grace. Now, may our spirits and body be nourished and nurtured, and we give thanks and praise for all that sustains, heals, and holds, all that is holy. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. a meditation hymn, number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
Good morning. This month, we've chosen the Richmond Reproductive Freedom Project as our Share the Plate recipient. I don't know this organization, but I do know firsthand how critical the freedom to choose is for women. And I'd like to take a couple of minutes just to share a personal story, because it's a different kind of story than you usually hear associated with reproductive justice. When I was 21, I thought I was pregnant, and it was after Roe versus Wade. Birth control was rampant. We had practiced birth control. It didn't work. And so when I told my partner that I was pregnant, he said, "It'll be okay. I'll take care of abortion," assuming that would be my choice. And I had indeed been a strong advocate for reproductive rights since I was a teenager, and debated with my Catholic friends the issue of birth control and abortion. I never won the debate, by the way. After I discovered I might be pregnant, I went to the doctor, which is what you did back then, and took a test, and it took at least 24 hours to get the result of the test. And as I waited, I weighed my options. Abortion seemed for me a logical choice. I supported it, I valued it, I understood why women chose that. I was on my own, just beginning a career. I had practiced safe sex, but it didn't work. And so I thought it would be my choice. I did ponder adoption, but in those days, open adoption was not legal, and I couldn't bear the thought of having a child in the universe who would choose to know me, who could not by law. And then I just explored parenting, which absolutely terrified me. I never had the talk by my mother about sex, but she had instilled in me an enormous amount of shame and guilt about getting pregnant out of wedlock. And so I was terrified at the thought of being a parent at this age and not being married. In the end, what I decided surprised both me and my partner, because I decided that if I was pregnant, I would choose to parent, in spite of the obstacles, the challenge, and the shame that I was already beginning to feel. My point in telling the story is this. now that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, I understand in a different way how critical it is that our personal beliefs and values and decisions that we choose to make should not determine other people's fate, should not deny us the opportunity for other people, should not mandate a decision that someone should make. And so I wanted to share that today because it's important to me now in a different way than it was when I was 21. So now I'd like to just share the information about the Richmond Reproductive Freedom Project because it provides what many people don't have. And I understood when I was 21 that I had support, emotional support, I had safe options for abortion, and I had financial support of my parents as well to make that choice, to make whatever choice I wanted to. And now, abortion is once again a privilege that requires resources and support, and that's what this organization does. Most first trimester abortions average about $400 in Virginia, and the cost rises exponentially as the pregnancy progresses. Together with the cost of childcare, travel, and missing work, those seeking abortion often face immense financial barriers to care. Organizations like this one help break down those barriers by providing financial support for those seeking abortion services in Virginia. Their work extends beyond funding to include extending practical support to clients, engaging in advocacy, and creating spaces of healing throughout the community. They support access to a range of reproductive choices. Clients' decisions about when or whether to become parents are equally supported. The Richmond Reproductive Freedom Project is a grassroots abortion fund and relies on individual and community donations to provide its broad range of services. We ask that you give generously to this organization engaging in reproductive work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn, for sharing such a personal story. Beloveds, please look at your screen for ways to give. And if you want to give right here and right now, the ushers are passing the plates. An offering will be taken and most graciously received.
Some of us need to make an offering, not only because the congregation needs our support, but because we need to remind ourselves of our own generosity. Because the act of giving something away is a tangible way of acknowledging the gifts that we have been given. If we don't have enough for ourselves, we may be poor in material wealth. But when we don't have enough to share, we are truly poor in spirit. And none of us should leave this place feeling poor in spirit.
He just said, so this is a group called the Bare Naked Ladies. He said, should we tell them we're the Bare Naked Ladies?
Thank you, Bare Naked Ladies. My bad. It was one of those cold, rainy days in June of 2007, like today, when President Obama's primary campaign took him to a small town of Greenwood, South Carolina. Those were the early days of his campaign, and things weren't going particularly well. Speaking to a small, subdued crowd, soaking wet and exhausted, Obama heard a voice called out from the back of the room, fired up, ready to go. The woman who led the chant was a local politician and activist, Edith Childs. She caught Obama's eye as she was dressed as she had just come from church, wearing a big church lady hat with a gold toothy smile. And the people around her repeated the chant, fired up, ready to go. As President Obama would later recount that story on that eventful day in Greenwood, he would say, it just goes to show how one voice can change a room. And if it can change a room, it could change a city. And if it can change a city, it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a nation. And if it can change a nation, it can change the world. Beloveds, have you ever felt fired up, knowing the feeling of firing on all cylinders or even following your passion? On the other hand, life's daily challenges might have caused your pilot light to go out. It may have dampened your enthusiasm. You might even lost your mojo. But less dramatically, the big fire in your belly may be more a small candle that sputters to stay alight. And 3 years ago, who would have thought that a virus was about to spread across this planet, wreaking havoc on our health, our economy, and even the way we do worship? And I don't know about you, but I would never thought that our church would close its doors for months and shifted much of our ministry online. And when the lockdown began to take place all over the country, many congregations across denominational and religious tradition finances nosedive with reduced contribution, reduction in programming, and staff cut. It is no wonder that the big fire in our bellies has become a small candle that sputters to stay alight. Either way, what we're talking about is the inner fire. It is the passion, the energy, the power, the spirit that flows through us and enables us to feel either or less engaged with life. In short, the stoking inner fire is about getting stuff done and engaging with life in bigger and better ways. And if your inner fire needs attending, it's time to reignite the spark or fan the flame to get a decent burn. And as we start a new era here at First UU and begin to imagine what ministry could look like post-pandemic, beloveds, this will require all of us to reignite the fire of our generosities. You see, to reignite is to set it on fire again, to begin to burn again, to give new life or fresh energy. And to reignite the fire of generosity, we must reimagine what it means to give this congregation your time, your treasure, your talents, when so much has changed during the last 3 years. And this is more about raising money to balance the budget. This means we need to raise enough money to support the ministry and programming that are required to help make the lives of the members of this faith community and the beloved community more meaningful. And giving to this congregation is more than just an act of obligation. It is a compulsion of the heart. And we don't become generous by simply giving more, but by caring more. And beloved, generosity does not originate in our hands, but in our hearts. And here at First UU, we're called to be generous even during the most challenging times during the past 3 years. And because of your generosity and faithful contribution, the ministry and missions of First UU continue to thrive. We continue to offer compelling, thought-provoking, engaging worship services. Folks became members of the congregation without stepping inside the building. we're able to honor and continue our UU rituals, such as the children dedication, water and flower communions. Small groups and ministry continue to meet without skipping a beat. We continue to provide passionate and loving pastoral care to those who need it. And we continue to be the clarion voice for social justice in our community. Our voices were heard beyond the 4 walls, and the pandemic did not silence us. And while we weren't perfect and some things slipped through the cracks, some folks missed being in person, some folks felt that they lost their church, and some even felt that they lost a sense of community. However, we stayed together because of your love for this church, our love for each other, and our love for community. This love for our congregation is expressed through your generosity. And we continue to do transformative ministries that we as Unitarian Universalists are called to do because we open our hearts. And because of your kindness, your generosity, we rose to the occasion and responded to some of the most challenging times for our congregation and our nation. So, my beloved, we open our hearts, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. As members of the faith community, we're called to change lives and change this community for the better. We're called to carry our historical legacy of the liberal religious voice of the city and embrace potential for connection, service, programming, and outreach. So to continue to do so, I'm asking you to continue to be generous stewards, a congregation of folks who understand and committed to our vision and share the vision of beloved community and transforming this world and ourselves. So this morning, I ask that you revisit your financial commitment to First UU. Today, I invite you to reignite the fire of commitment to First UU, and I'm asking you to reignite the fire of your generosity. You see, your generosity and giving to this community is a spiritual practice. It is another opportunity to commit to Unitarian Universalist values, recommit to our mission, and be a welcome and inclusive home for spiritual growth that is a catalyst for the promotion of positive social change. We invest our time, talents, and treasure into what we claim to be a part of and who we are. It is the spiritual practice of commitment. It is the spiritual practice of communicating our trust in the work of the faith community. And when we give of ourselves, we more fully experience the gift of belonging to this faith community. And where there are different types of giving, from volunteering your time to one-time donation, legacy gifts, giving to the weekly Share the Place offering, or pledging annually, we have the opportunity through our financial commitment to continue to transform ourselves from individuals to an intentionally committed, beloved community where we can create something larger than ourselves. Our contribution and financial commitment to the ministry of First UU are tied together, and our programs are made up of all of us, of our resources, our time, our efforts, and they are available to all of our beloved siblings, no matter what path they have chosen to enter this faith community. And your financial gifts allow us to continue our mission and bless the world in so many ways that extend beyond these 4 walls. And most importantly, your contribution will allow us to be the faith community of people who are counted to show up whenever we need to, and we are called to do so. A community of folks who will be the voice for the voiceless, advocates for the oppressed, offer hope for the hopeless, and be committed anti-racist congregation and inclusive multicultural congregation where all souls are welcome. So, beloved, I am grateful for your financial support through the years, even through the good and not so good times. But today I am asking you to consider reigniting your generosity. Now, what you choose to give will have to be a personal choice, and I don't believe the amount that you give reflect on your commitment to this congregation. But I'm asking you, if you're able, please consider to increase the amount that you're planning to give to First UU. Imagine how we can transform the community to do new and innovative ministries and the type of enhanced worship services that we can offer and the people that we can help across the city if you are willing just to increase your pledge or contribution just a wee bit. Now, I know we are a great group of people here at First UU, and during my 14 years here, that I've been here, I've seen us to be a more generous in our contribution each year, especially during the last 3 years, while many congregations had to cut staff, eliminate programming, and in some cases, lay off ministers. So believe me when I tell you this, I am grateful for whatever you can contribute. And from my experience and know-how, this faith community has transformed and enhanced, enriched this community, and literally saved my life and the lives of so many here this morning. And I've learned that making sacrifice for the sake of supporting the congregation at a responsible level means so much to all of us here this morning. So please consider giving at a responsible level that really feel good to you. And if you give enough to feel it, and some may say if you give enough to hurt, that would be good too. And as you're thinking about whether to increase your contribution, whatever your decision may be, I encourage you to think about what this congregation means to you and your families, and how these ministries may have transformed your life. And think about when you contribute or pledge to this congregation, it is given to a greater good to enrich our lives. So when we end our Sunday worship services and I share the benediction, I ask you to go out and be blessings to others, and to go out and do service, to live our UU principles, to spread hope far and wide. And week after week, we make a difference in countless lives. And now more than ever, this world needs a witness to the profoundly life-changing, life-affirming, healing, and transformative power of our Unitarian Universalist faith. But the challenge before us this morning is whether we are willing to prioritize the church in our giving. And by doing so, we can bring more life, more love, and more justice to the world. And friends, it doesn't matter how much you're willing to increase your contribution over last year. If you plan to increase it by 10%, 5%, 1%, or no increase at all, what does matter is that you open your generous hearts to First UU. So my friends, your love for this congregation is expressed through your generosity. So in a moment, our board president, Denise Ryan, will come to speak to you about this year's stewardship campaign. So I want to finish by asking all of you here in the Great Hall this morning, those of you who are joining us virtually, and those who may be watching on YouTube later on this week, are you ready? Are you fired up and ready to go? Well, and ready to go. May this be so.
Y'all get comfortable. I forgot my notes. When I'm extemporaneous, it could last forever. And I know we're running long, but I do want to share a couple of things with you. In the past 2 or 3 years, due to a variety of circumstances, our staff has run our annual giving campaign. And for those of you who've been around the block a few times, they have literally had to sing for their supper. And believe me, they don't do it as well as Waylon Jennings or Bare Naked Ladies or even our friends over here. And this is a congregation that takes care of itself. And this year, we are returning to a congregational approach to our giving, and the board of directors is serving as your stewardship committee. Primarily because when you restart, when you reignite, when you get fired up, it is critical that your leadership knows and understands what it takes to keep a place like this community going. And so the board has been working very hard to put together the next 6 to 8 weeks. And Reverend Sherman has alluded a little bit to how we're going to go through this. My trusty assistant and colleague on the board, Suzanne Short, is here to help us kick off this giving campaign. Our theme this year, you might have guessed, is fired up, ready to go. You have a fat head, it's a little hard. This was meant for a child. At any rate, some may say that I am. One thing that I want to ask the congregation, and I know we're running a little bit long, but in my time as president, which seems to be interminable at this point, I've heard many times people say, well, who's in charge? I mean, who makes these decisions? How do we get things done? So on and so forth. So today, you are going to get to make a decision, an informal straw poll. Our staff has worked really hard on a budget for the next church year, and for that budget to come into reality and it is not finalized, we need from this congregation $896,000. Let me just round up to say $900,000. If you round up to the next 100,000, for my math people, Jim Blowers, what is the next, if you round up 900,000, what's the next number? Okay, no new math, buddy. Rounding up is $1 million. This congregation has the potential to raise $1 million a year. The question is, do you think you can do it? We gotta have 900,000. We could use $1 million. Those of you who think that $900,000 is reasonable given our times, please raise your hand, and there's no right or wrong answer. How many of you think we could raise $1 million if we really tried? 50-50. Not helping me. I was going to make a point, but that didn't help. So let me say this, and then I will wrap up. Reverend Sherman talked about giving, getting really fired up and giving till it feels good or till it hurts. Let me challenge you to give an amount that you are proud of. That you are proud to be a member of this community. You are proud that your $10 a month or your $1,000 a month is going to the benefit, the growth, and the good works of this community. If somebody, and I know that nice people don't talk about money, that is my deceased mother on my shoulder, always talking in my ear. If somebody were to come up to you and say, how do you feel about your pledge? You would be more than willing to say, I am very proud to say that I give $200 a year. Because that's what I can do, and that's what I can commit to, and I think that $200 will help. So I want you to have that conversation with yourself, and I want you to make the commitment. Many people don't make a pledge because they don't want to commit. Take the risk on behalf of your pride in this community. Take that risk and put a number down that you can achieve and that you will feel good about. And if you need to change it, then you just make a call to Margaret and say, I change it. And by the way, you can change it up and down. And if you need to stop it because something happens in your job or your income, you make that call, and a week later, no more money's coming out of your account. So think about those things, and we're going to set a goal for $950,000. And I'm going to tell you every week, maybe not from the chancel, but certainly in the First News Weekly, I'm going to tell you every week where we are and how far we have to go. We're going to put your name up on a little flame and put it on the wall so everybody knows you have made your pledge. I want you all to be proud of your role in this congregation with regard to your time, talent, and pleasures. Operators will be standing by just on the other side of this wall after service. If you would like to make your pledge online or fill out a pledge form, you will get a letter this week. Each of you will get a letter this week, and the week after that you'll get a letter if we haven't gotten your pledge, and the week after that you'll get a phone call, and the week after that I'm coming to your house for dinner, and the week after that the whole board is going to show up. So if every other plea fails, avoid getting a phone call from me during dinner. Make that pledge, give with pride, and join us fired up outside after worship for some s'mores and some little flame crafts to bring our young folks into the campaign. Thank you all in advance very much. Your fire chief is ready to help build the fire.
At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
I'm not going to extinguish the fire because we're fired up and ready to go. Thank you so much, friends. I'm very excited about Denise's commitment to raise $950,000. I'm going to go one step further. Because we're so fired up and ready to go, $1 million may not be a pipe dream. So we can do it, because I've seen this congregation rise to the occasion for many years. So do what you can do, and we appreciate it. So please rise as I give the benediction, as you are comfortable. We have gathered in this place, embraced by the love we share together this day. We have gathered, emboldened, empowered, and encouraged by the community we make together. And now, let us go to be bearers of hope and life and love, and be makers of peace, justice, and joy. Go out now knowing that you're blessed. Go out fired up, and may this be so. Amen. And our closing hymn, Fire of Commitment.